You want Holocaust education to be inclusive for who? For like Hitler lovers? Who do we have to make Holocaust education inclusive for? This segment is brought to you by Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. I'm down 37 pounds on the program, and I lost most of that in just 2 months. Do what I did and what so many other undivided viewers have done. Schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Okay, so you'll probably hear this Holocaust education bill referred to in a couple different ways, because again, there's a bill in the Senate, there's a matching bill in the House. The House bill, because we're going to talk about what went down on the floor of the House, is House Bill 2037. And it had bipartisan sponsorship. And so it was like, okay, this thing's flying through, passes unanimously out of committee. And this was, was it late? Was it overnight on Thursday or Friday? It was like midnight. Right? And they're still passing things on the floor of the House when no one's watching. I want to say it was like midnight on Friday. And this thing, the Republicans totally expected, like, hey, this is coming up for a vote. It passed unanimously in committee, so this is going to come out unanimously, and we're just going to move on to other things as we continue to vote into the early morning hours. But then something really weird happened that is totally out of line with protocol. There was an amendment dropped by a Democratic lawmaker, Emily Alvarado, that the other side hadn't been briefed on. So typically, if you're going to propose on the floor an amendment to a bill, it's shared with all sides so that when you propose the amendment, the other side is ready to say whether they agree with it or if they choose to talk about why they don't. So not only is that just the right thing to do for good debate on an issue that's well informed, but it is protocol, it is procedure. So Representative Emily Alvarado drops this amendment, which I could read it, but basically it sounds like she wants to make sure that what's happening to people in Gaza is part of Holocaust education, which to me has no place in this bill. We're talking about discussing the horrors of the Holocaust, making sure it's taught appropriately in our public schools, and she's essentially trying to wokeify it, which is insane. And what she said, so she stands up, she introduces this amendment, and she said this.
This amendment is about inclusivity and accountability when it comes to teaching about the Holocaust and genocide, and I ask for your support.
Inclusive to who, I thought? You want Holocaust education to be inclusive for who? For like Hitler lovers? Who do we have to make Holocaust education inclusive for? So when that happened, and I was talking to some lawmakers who were on the floor, the Republicans were freaking out because not only was this amendment dropped that they had no knowledge of, but they're hearing that like, what do you mean you want to make our Holocaust education bill inclusive? So anyway, watch what happens next, because you can clearly tell that there's some confusion on the floor, and it's like 12:30 in the morning by this point.
The House will be at ease for a moment. The House will be in order. The good member from the 34th Legislative District, Representative Fitzgibbon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House now adjourn until 10 a.m. February 10th, the 34th Legislative Day.
It's been moved and seconded that the House adjourn until 10 a.m. Saturday, February 10th. A roll call vote has been requested. Speaker's about to start the roll call machine. Speaker has started the roll call machine. Has every member voted? Representative Cheney, how do you vote? Does any member wish to change their vote? Speaker's about to lock the roll call machine. Speaker has locked the roll call machine. Clerk will take the record.
Mr. Speaker, there are 58 yeas, 39 nays, 1 excused.
So
the motion is adopted. The House will now be adjourned until 10 a.m. Saturday, February 10th.
So here's what went down. The Democrat introduces this amendment, catches Republicans completely off guard. They go at ease to figure out what's going on. Democrats meet in their caucus, and they realize that they do not have the votes to pass this Holocaust education bill without that woke amendment added to it. So rather than have all that anti-Semitism, Hamas sympathy be debated out in the public sphere, Democrats voted just to adjourn. They're like, hey, we got to get this. We got to figure this out in a way that, won't look bad for us. So they just voted to adjourn. And Republicans voted against adjourning because they wanted all that to play out. Like, no, you want this amendment? You want to drop this on us? Like, let's talk about it. So anyway, but Democrats have the majority. So they voted to just adjourn. And by that time, it's like 1:30 in the morning, Saturday morning. And then they came back into session on the floor at like 10 a.m. Now, ultimately, because Republicans really don't have a choice, right? If Democrats want to pass something, they're going to pass it. So ultimately, on Saturday in the House, this Holocaust education bill did pass with that amendment attached.
The question before the House is adoption of Amendment 839. All those in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. The amendment is adopted. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? The Speaker is about to lock the roll call machine. The Speaker has locked the roll call machine. Will the clerk please take the record?
Madam Speaker, there are 96 yeas, 0 nays, 2 excused.
Having received a constitutional majority, engrossed substitute House Bill 2037 is declared passed.
So, passed overwhelming bipartisan support because, frankly, no one wants to vote against a Holocaust education bill. Like, even if you don't love it in its current form, no one's going to vote against a bill to teach public school students about the Holocaust. But I will say it still has this amendment attached that, in my opinion, is designed to, but the Holocaust. Like, let's teach about the Holocaust, but look what's happening now in Gaza. Which, what's interesting about that is the existing bill already talked about, let's teach about other genocides as well as an option. Public schools can talk about other genocides that have happened throughout history. So there's nothing like precluding schools from talking about what's happening in Gaza right now. But to attach it really does have this ring of, but when it comes to the Holocaust, which is ridiculous to me.